Good afternoon and heartily welcome to all. I, Amrapali Modak, on behalf of Shribinjani City College, welcome you all for this 6-day session on career-oriented diploma course in communication skills and personality development, organized by the Department of English. Respected principal of our college, Dr. Sujit Maitre sir, the guest of today's session, Mr. Manish Kumar Chauhan sir, the head of the Department of English, Dr. A.M. Shinde sir, the organizing team members, the coordinator, my colleague teachers, and dear students. I once again welcome you all in this 6-day session on translation studies. I hope this journey would have been proved beneficial for you. We have covered the sessions on writing skills in this diploma course with the topics like social media and English language learning, creative writing, note making, errors in writing, technical writing, etc. Today, our session is on translation studies. But before moving the session, let me first take the opportunity to call the principal of our college, respected Dr. Sujit Maitre sir, for valedictory remark. Over to you, sir.
Hopefully my voice is coming to you, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's clear.
Right. So translation studies and last date. So the student must have understood what to translate, how to translate, and how easily and how effectively translate, right? So the session is not yet over. I suppose that sir is going to take one session today as well, right? So what is the purpose of this particular program or the course has to be made very, very clear. And that is translation is happening in our brains automatically. While I am saying this statement, I am completely aware and I'm assuming that most of the students who are undergoing this course, they have their mother tongue other than English, right? So maybe most of you will be coming from the families wherein vernacular languages like Marathi or Hindi is spoken, right? So when we say that this is the case, so we are saying that our HOD of English, while he was making his presentation, he also says that this is a fearsome language for many. And there are people in the world who said that English is very unique language and very loving language, right? So we don't understand how English can be a loving language. Specifically, जब वो बच्चे उस इंग्लिश को देखते हैं या सुनते हैं या जिसमें लिखने की कोशिश करते हैं और वो जो रुक जाते हैं, कहाँ रुकते हैं? Most of us stop at grammar level. Some move further and they stop at the vocabulary level, right? They don't find words, good enough words to write down whatever they want to write, to speak out whatever they want to speak, right? तो झगड़ा सालों से और सदियों से चलता आ रहा है कि इंग्लिश आना यानी सब कुछ नहीं है, लेकिन ये भी सब लोग जानते हैं कि इंग्लिश आना चाहिए, राइट? बिकॉज it is a language worth learning, it is a language of business, and it has commanded and demanded the respect of all, right? So English जिसको आती है ऐसा बोला जाता है कि they are one step ahead of others, right? So understanding these full things, so translation हमारे दिमाग में चलता रहता है. हमको जो कुछ भी बोलना है हम पहले उसको मराठी में सोचते हैं, बाद में उसको इंग्लिश में कन्वर्ट करते हैं और अगर हिम्मत जुटा पाए तो उसको बोल देते हैं, राइट? सो ये सारी चीजें जब हो रही होती है तो इस प्रोसेस को फास्ट करने के लिए वी हैव डिवाइस्ड दिस पर्टिकुलर कोर्स कि वॉट एवर इज हैपनिंग वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू चेंज, वी डोंट वांट दैट प्रोसेस टू चेंज. वॉट एवर इज कंफर्टेबल विथ यू, बट व्हेन यू आर डूइंग इट you must know the tricks of the game, that how fast and how effectively you can translate it, right? How fast and how effectively you can translate it. So translation is required at the time you speak, and more importantly, translation is required when you are writing something, right? So writing is more permanent than speaking. So hopefully you have learned something out of this particular course. Our faculty members have made sufficient efforts for you to get into this particular topic and understand this topic fully well, right? So I congratulate all those who have planned this. I congratulate all who have attended this, and I'm thankful for those who were regular enough to take up the inputs out of this course. Thank you. Next time you will be able to translate it better, and I can see it in the Antarang, which is a magazine, our college magazine. So I want contribution from all of you in that college magazine, whether it is an article, whether it is a poem or whatever it is, or it is a translation coming out of some book which you love, right? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. We thank you for being with us today. Students are always motivated by your words. Today, we have Mr. Manish Kumar Chauhan, sir, as a resource person who is currently working as a professor in Shivaji Science College, Nagpur. He is a SET qualified and has published 2 research papers. He has participated in different seminars, conferences, and workshops. He has been invited for the guest lecture too. He has 2 years of teaching experience in PG department of Abba Sahib Garwari College, Pune, and 2 years of teaching experience in Shri Binzhani City College. So without taking much time, I request Dr. Manish Kumar Chauhan, sir, to start this session on translation studies. Over to you, sir.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. Yes, yes. Okay, at the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Sujit Maitre sir for providing me opportunity. I would also like to thank HOD of SBCT College, Dr. A.M. Shende sir. And I would also like to thank Kane ma'am for providing such a platform to share my views. Today, I welcome you all in this session, Translation Studies, under the course Career Oriented Diploma course on Communication Skills and Personality Development. Okay, so today we have very interesting topic that you all know about, that is translation studies. So translation, what is mean by translation? As sir has rightly pointed out, that we all do translation in our mind and it is a required skills nowadays. But what is mean by translation? Translation is not only the mere transfer of one language to another. Translation has a broader concept. Generally, when we talk about translation, we generally try to say that we all are translated men, because it has cultural reference as well, that we are going to look it out. Okay, so nowadays we all live in a global world, and it is required to us to know other country better. Okay, and through translation we are doing it. And the translation, what is mean by, first we'll try to define the word translation. The English word translation first coined in around 1340, okay, and which originates from the Latin word translatio, that means transporting, and it itself coming from the past participle form of the verb transfer. Okay, what is transfer? To carry over. For example, when you talk about a source language and the target language, okay, so source language would be the language which we have to translate into another vernacular language. Okay, so it is the carryover. For example, to carry over, so when we talk about history of translation, at the beginning it was known to be only to translate one language to another language. Okay, so it was restricted to that much only, but now it has been emerged as a translation studies, and it is the part of various universities under the separate discipline. So you can go, lots of webinars have been conducted, lots of journals have been published, and right now it is the emerging branch. So as a student, you must know the opportunities that are waiting for you if you go for translation studies. Okay, So it has a wider aspect. Today in this session, we would look it out how many opportunities are waiting for you out there if you know these skills. Okay, and also you can able to understand how can you be a good translator. Okay, because translator is not just a person who just translate one language into another language. Okay, but he has to carry the same birth pangs that has been already been there with the original author. Okay, because he has to decode the original work and he has to recode it into a another language, because it has a cultural connotation and everyone has to understand the culture before translating it. For instance, if you take an example, for example, if you take any proverb, for instance, if you take an example of the child is the father of man, what does it mean? And if you just translate it into a Marathi without understanding the cultural connotation, for instance, what would you do? The child is the father of man, तो हिंदी में क्या बोलोगे of the बच्चा ये पिताजी का पिता है. Okay, so if you will not understand what it basically means, so what does it mean? It means that child is a father of man, that we can understand the future of the child only by observing his qualities, his potential. We can identify when we observe him. Okay, at the first initial stage only. So when you, for example, in Marathwada, there is a one line is there, Ubhatak. Okay, so generally, if you see in Vidarbha, it has different connotation altogether. Ubhatak, if you listen to it, no, you will find that the next person is abusing you because you are not aware of such type of words. But what it means, you here in the translation, you are not just understanding one language and you are transferring into another language, but here the basic requirement of the translator is to understand both the culture. Okay, so when you become a translator, it has the competency should be in the both language. You should be competent in your vernacular language as well as you should be competent to the language that you are going to translate it, as well as you as we have seen the creative writing. And I have already told you that what does it mean. Creative writing means you have power of imagination, and when you like something you pin it down. Similarly, the translator has chosen the particular source text. If he likes it, for example, he tends to use his imagination and he just records it. So you can see the same source text can be translated into different pieces. Okay, the same translation cannot be there. For example, if the Othello is there and if I have translated the Othello, my translation would be different than the Harsha ma'am translation, and it would be different than the another person. Why? Because my interpretation would be there and my imagination would be there, because I told you that when the writer writes, it is the end of that thing. It is up to you how you derive the meaning out of it. Okay, so it's up to you. And that's why translation is not just a translation, it is a transcreation. So it has something to do with your creativity as well. So that's why it is a broader aspect. Then what we require to translate. Okay, so basically we require the process of translation between the two different we can just take it here. Okay, so the process of translation between two different written languages incorporates the changing of an original written text, that is a source text of in the original verbal language, into a written text that is a target language in a different verbal language. Okay, so the definition of translation goes like this. So we have source text. For example, we have English text, for instance, and now we would like to translate it into our mother tongue, for example, Marathi or Hindi. Then it would be our target language. And the translator needs to go through both the languages, okay, and as well as the culture of that language. Then the concept of translation has changed a lot over years. So similarly, when you see the translation, at that point of time, it was merely the concept of that how one can transfer the linguistic content, for example, okay, a linguistic content from one language to another language. But now it has changed. It has changed because the translation has something to do with the overall personality. Okay, as I told you that we all are translated men. We are not like the when Britisher came in India, they left certain influences on our mindset, okay, we still follow them. So we can say that we still are internally colonized, our mind is still with the impact of British. So we all are a separate kind of a person. For example, I am a person who belongs to from a region of Yavatmal district. Then I happened to go to Pune. Over there, I stayed 3 4 years. So I have seen the two culture. Okay, so you cannot just observe a person who remain at this. So it has something to do with the diaspora, a cultural change, and also a linguistic change that is going to happen with you. Okay, so everything needs to be taken into account when you translate. So earlier it was just about just translating of one language into another, but now it has become indispensable part to understand the cultural connotation and to understand another country's mindset, everything. Okay, because now if you happen to see, we are the nation where lots of states are there, but still we are living peacefully. Why? Because of translation. Now the countries are coming together and we are going towards the kind of world peace concept. Why? Because of translation. So translation plays a vital role to shape the individual's life as well as to shape the country's future as well. So but in today's concept, translation covers the vast transaction of human communication of all forms, cultures and thoughts. So to understand the enemy, to understand the friend, you need to understand the cultural. So as I told you that if you know the cultural background, then only you can decode it and recode it. For example, I have given the different examples. If you happen to see and to go to South India, there is a one proverb that a leaf is laid. Okay, so what it means? It doesn't mean that there is only a leaf on the table, but it connotates the different meaning altogether. We say the pen is mightier than the swords. So if you literally translate it, then it becomes monstrous translation because you are just misinterpreting the entire meaning of it. What is the concept here? The pen is mightier than the sword means the knowledge has more power than the violence, than the power of your physics, for instance. Okay, so this is the basic concept that you need to follow. But if you look it out in the translation, if you just want to go for the word to word meaning, then it would create the monstrous translation. You just change the meaning. What instead of the translation, what is important is that sense to sense. So you cannot just go for each word and you cannot go for what should be the exact meaning in the Marathi, what should be the exact meaning in Hindi. No, it is not required. You have to grasp the and you have to understand the concept. You have to understand the theme of that novel. You have to understand the theme of the short stories, and as per the your understanding, your interpretation, you are translating it. So that's why translator is a second author of that text. Okay, translator is not the person who is just copying down, but he knows the vernacular better and he understands the both the culture, and that's why he is able to make it into another form. And that's why translation is not the copying down of the one piece, but it is the regeneration of the thing. And that's why translator is the second author of that book, because the author might have gone through lot of struggle, lot of adversities when he writes that particular piece. The same adversities, for instance, the same birth pangs that the author has undergone needs to be followed by the translator as well, because the translator is also the collaborative author when he writes it down. Okay, so in other words, the concept of translation developed from purely linguistic approach of the 60s to textual focus of the 70s have now developed the translation of cultures and other human dynamism. Okay, so it has something to do with the cultures and human dynamism, and that's why it adds something to the language as well. And that's why we generally we say that the language is always in the process of evolution. Okay, in English also lots of words have been incorporated in recent time when we are following the culture of Instagram, Facebook. So similarly, all these things should be known by the vernacular person, the person who translates it. Okay, otherwise it is very difficult for him to translate, because the entire meaning will be destroyed. Okay, and sometimes it happens that a particular word has no exact meaning in some other words. For example, butter in English, what we call in Marathi, no word is there. Then what can you do? It is the product of milk. Okay, so you have to use any substitute words for it, which goes according. There was a concept of brinjal mess. Okay, brinjal mess. Okay, we called it in Marathi वांग्याचे भरीत. Okay, and it has something to do with the entire concept of that how can you take the approximate word to that brinjal mess. Okay, so brinjal mess and the वांग्याचे भरीत, that is not exact meaning of that word, but you have to go to the approximation. So what is important in translation is not the word to word meaning of that word. What is important? Sense to sense. So once you have understood it, just what you have understood and what is your interpretation, what is your personal comment on it, you can just write it down. Okay, then translation, as Dr. Johnson defines, engages with the process uh, process of change into another language, retaining the sense, which indeed the basic objective. So Dr. Johnson defines the translation as that it engages with the process of change into another language, retaining the sense, which is ending the basic objective. So the search for the right word is a central to the process, because the meaning of the original has to be retained in the target language as much as possible. Okay, so here Dr. Johnson has said that you have to just go for the right word. Okay, right word. So the initial definition was like this, that you can go for the right word and this sense shouldn't be changed. But when you come across the definition that is given by A.H. Smith, is that he says that maintains that to translate is to change into another language, retaining as much of sense one can. Okay, so it is not necessary for you to go for right word. What is important according to Smith is sense is important. So as much as sense you can get, because every word can't be replaced with the vernacular word. Okay, you will find that there will be scarcity. Okay, there will be a scarcity of word. What is required is sense is required. What is required is cultural connotation is required. Okay, and how through this way you can translate. If you happen to go for the like a rigidity of a translation, for example, no, I should go for a right word, then it is very difficult for you to translate. In translation, only the sense is required to be translated. Okay, so this is the concept of translation. This is the definition of translation. Now we are going to see what are the different types of translation. Okay, so this type of changing the meaning from source to target medium of communication corresponds to interlingual translation. So source to target medium of communication, language to language translation, it corresponds to interlingual translation. So one language to another language, it is considered to be a interlingual translation. And in the history also, earlier times, the translation was considered to be one language to another language, and it is one of the three categories of the translation which has been demonstrated by Russo-American structuralist Roman Jakobson in his seminal paper on linguistic aspects of translation. Okay, so it is the one category. So if you are if you are just assuming that translation is carrying the meaning of one language into another language, then that is not all about translation. Okay, it is only the one type of translation that comes under interlingual translation. Now we are going to see other types as well, and then you can understand the comprehensive meaning of what it means to be the real meaning of translation. Okay, so Jakobson categorizes are as follows: that intralingual translation is also a translation. Okay, for example, when you have the summary writing, when you have that one third writing of the paragraph, so when you understand the paragraph and you write it down in the same language. For example, when you just analyze the literary pieces and you just comment it down on your interpretation, for example, that is also a translation. So translation is a wider concept, it has a wider approach. So as a student, you should be knowing it. Don't just take the translation as a narrow term. It is a very broader term, and it is a separate like a branch of a study nowadays. So intralingual translation is also a translation, that is a rewording and interpretation of verbal signs by means of other signs of the same language. So when you have, for example, intralingual translation, so if one paragraph is given to you, okay, and if you are writing it into a same language, that also intralingual language, or if you happen to see there is a game where one person is just doing the action and the second person has to understand that action, so that also has something to do with the translation. Okay, when you are using a same language and you are rewording it, that comes under intralingual translation. Then second category we have interlingual translation. As you know that in the history at that point of time, interlingual translation was considered to be only a translation. Okay, that is a translation proper, an interpretation of verbal signs by means of some other language. So when you have English, for instance, and when you are translating it into a Marathi or Hindi, that is known as interlingual translation. And there is also the third category, which is very important for you to understand, is that intersemiotic translation. It is also known as transmutation. That is an interpretation of verbal signs by means of signs of non-verbal sign systems. Okay, so here language doesn't play any important role. What plays important role is non-verbal sign system. So for example, if you are translating something, for example, movie adaptations would be the best example of it. Okay, for example, if you happen to see from this definition, the types of translation are grounded on semiotics, which means the general science of communication through signs and sign systems. For example, if you are using PPT presentation, for example, okay, if you have understood it and if you are showing it into a movie, then also it is a translation, because the author has already written it, then you are translating it. For example, if the script is written and then you are just presenting it on the drama, what is important? The person who does it, who interprets it and then presenting it on the stage, the same kind of impact wouldn't be there. Okay, because the original is original and the translated piece is translated piece, because original is obviously has something to do with the intention of the author, and the translated piece has something to do with the intention of the translator. Okay, sometimes what you feel, sometimes original will remain original and translated piece would be the one third of the original. Sometimes you would observe that the original will not have been that kind of impact which the translator can create that kind of impact. Okay, so translation is powerful medium, because whatever lacks in the original can be incorporated through translation. Because you are obviously, I told you that transcreation is the concept that is related with the translation. So what is transcreation? Creation, you are creating it, you are regenerating it. Okay, and that's why it is important to understand that you have your own way to interpret the text and you can translate it. Its use is important here, because translation is not always restricted to verbal languages. That's why intersemiotic translation, for example, takes place when written text is translated into different forms such as music, film, or painting, or with the sounds. So you see the different translation. For example, if you happen to see Omkara movie, which is the adaptation of Shakespeare's Othello Bollywood movie. If you happen to see Jeff Wenn's famous 1978 musical version of H.G. Wells' a science fiction novel, The War of the Worlds, which has then adapted from the stage in 2006. So there are also the Pride Prejudice, which is translated as Bride and Prejudice in Bollywood movie. So all are the forms of translation. Okay, so it is not just carrying the piece of, for example, it is not the carryover of one language to another language. It has the wider aspect, and that comes in intersemiotic translation. The second type, that is intralingual translation, which would take place when we produce a summary of the same piece. For example, English text is given to you and you are just writing the summary of that text only. So it is also a translation. When you rewrite the text in the same medium of communication, for example, children version of an encyclopedia, or even if you are rephrasing a text, that is also intralingual translation. So we have three categories of the translation. Or it also happens when we re-articulate an expression in the same language. So we have seen three types of translation: interlingual translation, intralingual translation, and intersemiotic translation. So what intralingual is the within the same language when you are translating it. For example, when you are writing summary or just rewriting the meaning of the same passage that is given to you, or when interlingual translation is that you have source target language and then you are translating it into a target language. Okay, source language to the target language. And then we have intersemiotic translation, which is you are using the any form of signs. For example, intersemiotic translation or transmutation, that comes under the adaptations. Okay, music form, any form of it. You can use different symbols, for example. That is the best example of that type of a translation. Okay. And now Sandra Halvorson claims that the translation can be better considered as a prototype classification. That is that there are basic core features that we associate with the prototypical translation and other translation form which lie on the margin. So it is a prototype. Okay, you need not to just need to focus on that the original and the translated piece should be equal. Okay, you cannot say like this. It is a prototype. What is prototype? It is something that you are creating which looks like a original, but it is not like a original. It is a prototype. Okay, but which is it has some margin. Okay, so you have to follow some rules, because after all you are translating it. You are not producing something different completely, but it looks like it, and the entire theme should be based on it. But it should also, it is very also important that it should look like a prototype. Okay, you should not be too rigid to produce such works. Then if you go to the history of translation, in earlier times, the act of translation was the only way for the transmission of a different cultural and religious texts and the concepts. So in that during those point of time, the religious text was very difficult and they needs to be translated, and that's why the translation was the medium being used at that point of time. In the West, the different ways of practicing translation were talked about by, among others, there was Cicero, Horace, dated 1st century BC, and Saint Jerome comes around 4th century. So that was the concept. So religious texts were being produced by such type of writers, and their translated writings created a great impact and wielded a lot of influence until the 20th century. So it was the concept, but in the due course of time, in today's time, translation became a translation studies and the separate discipline. For example, if you go to different universities, there is a separate branch, translation studies. You can go for research as well, translation, transcreation, because through which we are learning a lot. Okay, if you observe it, we are also a translated man. Everyone is a translated man because all of us have some cultural influences of other countries. Okay, or if you talk about our own culture, for example, it is also a composite culture. We follow Western culture, we follow metropolitan culture, we follow village culture. So all of us are translated being, and that's why we should understand, and thereby we come at the different point of view where we regret sometimes, and we also go for our own identity. So there are identity crises due to lots of scattering through different places. Okay, throughout the history, written and spoken translations have played a crucial role in interhuman communication, accessing to diverse text for scholarship and religious purposes, trade and industry. But the study of translation as an academic discipline only really started in the second half of the 20th century. So in 20th century, it has got the status of as a separate discipline, and translation studies as a discipline generally known as, and it has been popularized by James S. Holmes. Okay, and now remember this quotation: the act of translation also aims to be a creative art. So that day we have seen what is creative art. We have also we have seen that what is creative writing. It has something to do with your emotion, because when you translate something, why do you translate it? Because you think that this is a piece which needs to be translated. Okay, so sometimes, for example, if you happen to read English text, okay, which is very useful to be translated into your vernacular language. You feel it. Why do you feel it? Because you like it. Why do you like it? Because you have your own personal inclination towards that text. And if that inclination is there, you choose that piece and you write your own imagination. And if there is something missing in the original, you try to incorporate it. And for example, if you happen to see that, for example, there was a racial discrimination in South Africa, and Mahatma Gandhi has witnessed it and found out that this strategy would be useful for our freedom struggle as well and our suppressed group as well. And then through by which you can just bring that piece and just you can translate it into a vernacular language, because people can understand it and can respond to it in a better way. So Meenakshi Mukherjee makes a right observation that the act of translation is voluntary, because nobody is forcing you to translate. It is voluntary. That is, the material has been chosen by the translator himself, and the prime mover is a compelling desire to recreate. Okay, so when you have your own desire to recreate the particular piece of a literature or the particular piece of a writing, then you try to recreate it. Okay, and that's why it is a transcreation. You recreate it, which would be completely different than the original. So if you want to adapt the skills of being a perfect translator, what is required? That you have to be free from all kind of biases and the rigidity that we have. For example, that every word should be translated as it is. No. What is important is the sense is important, approximation is important, and you can translate it. And the lots of version can be there of the same piece. So you should not be too much bothered about the right words. And I told you that if you'll go for right word, then it basically creates the monstrous translation in terms of when you just go for a approximate word and you try to translate it. The same way I have given the example of the child is the father of man. Okay, the pen is the mightier than the sword, leaf is lead. Okay, these are the proverbs, and the proverbs, if you want to decode it, you have to understand that particular culture, and only then you can translate it as per your cultural understanding. So she also says that Meenakshi Mukherjee says that the translator is a writer in the language in which he is translating, and that is his handling of the language is not merely competent but creative. Okay, so it is a creative writing. Okay, because you are adding your emotions, your imagination to the original piece. Moreover, it has rightly been observed that the best translation is one which does not read like a translation at all. Okay, so you are not just merely copying down. If you are translating, if you are a translator, and if you are just using dictionary without using your mind, without interpreting it line by line, would it be possible for you to translate it? And even if you do so, would you be able to give the justice to the original piece? No, it is not possible for you. What is required that to understand both the culture? Okay, until and unless you are not competent with both the culture, you cannot translate it. It is very difficult for you to translate it. You just take an example that even if you do not understand the story, for instance, and if you go for word to word dictionary meaning and just translate it, you will feel at the end of the day, you will feel that it is not the translation, but it is something else. Okay, because translation is not the choosing the word to word. Translation is very broad concept. Okay, and what is the concept here? Translation is a meaning making process, and it is also the regeneration of the same text. Okay, and it is the afterlife of a original. It is the afterlife of a original. So original needs to be dead. Okay, for example, original is no more there, and now you are giving new life to the original. That is translation. Okay, and that's why it is it is very important to understand. It creates the excitement and joy of voyage of a discovery, normally associated with an original work. So so for example, if you are translating, okay, if you are translating, people assume that it has no excitement. Okay, the kind of that you are writing something original. But here, what is the important point to be noticed is that it has the same excitement and joy, like a voyage of a discovery normally associated with original work. The same kind of excitement is there when you translate the piece of original. The same kind of excitement would be there because you are discovering something new. You are discovering something new and you are adding something to the original. And that's why it has the same impact, or sometimes it can give a better impact than the original. Okay, so it is the same kind of a joy that should be getting when you are translating. As a critic, deconstruct the text and reconstruct it. So translate decodes this source language text and recodes in the target language. So decoding it and recoding it. We are not just decoding the text and just producing the same word. No, we are decoding it and recoding it. Okay, so we are using the different words for the different interpretation. Okay, and that's why it is a very challenging job of a translator to understand it and also recode it. What I think is that producing a original work would be very easy than producing something which has already been there, and if you are going to translate it, then you have a lot of responsibility, because you have to be faithful to the original work, because you can not just avoid the original work, as well as you have the second responsibility, how can you add your originality in the translated piece, for example. Okay, so being a faithful to the original, you have the responsibility to translate it, and also you have the second opportunity to just recreate the piece. Okay, so translator job is quite difficult than the author's work, and that's why translation plays a vital role to understand everything, to understand the tactics of the different country, for example. If a criticism has become a creative, for it not only interprets the text but extends the meaning of it, then translation is also a creative art. It recreates and source text in a new way in the target language. So it is completely a new version of the translation is the new version of the original. And it also aims to be a linguistic bridge building factor. So J.R. Furr popularized the translation as a kind of bridge building languages. So it is a bridge by which the whole language can be taken into a one language, and the whole countries can be together with the translation, and we can have a single country, single world, okay, where all countries can live peacefully. Like we have one nation and the different states are there, and if you want to go to the world peace, for example, through translation we can understand each other. In communication, what is required? Only if you can maintain the relation only if you can understand the second individual in a better way through language. Okay, and if you talk about country, for instance, one country understand another country through the translation. That's why translation plays a very important in the global world. So cultural transmission is an the important goal of translation studies. Since languages have different in terms of form and structure, translation act as a kind of a bridge between different languages and cultures. So it is bridge between different languages and the culture also. Okay, and it remarkably aims at bridging the different and diverse cultures as a different peoples from different parts of the world mingle and share their cultural uniqueness, and this sharing and transmitting of culture is only possible through intralingual, interlingual and intersemiotic translation. So Pride and Prejudice has been adapted, and there was a Bride and Prejudice movie in the Bollywood, for example. So we can understand the culture of that country. Othello, for instance, Shakespeare's Othello has been adapted as Omkara in our language. So Othello has something to do with the Western culture, and when it has been adapted, they have also focused on the vernacular culture as well. If you have seen the song Bidi Jalaile, Jigar Se Piya, Jigar Me, so like these songs have been taken. Why? Because that was a Western culture and there was no like values in the music and all. But here, when we have adapted it, we have also taken into point of the culture, target culture. Okay, the Indian culture, for instance. So the Iago played in the movie that is played by Saif Ali Khan. Okay, Saif Ali Khan, Langda Tagi, for instance, and everything has been so. You have to understand both the culture, and that's why translation plays a very important. Okay, so primary aim of translation study is two-folded. Firstly, in the process of translation, the meaningful effect of the original language or the text is meaningfully carried forward in the target language or the text. This is the first important. And in other words, when translating from one medium of communication to another, the sense of original source is reproduced in the target source. This is the primary aim of translation, as we have. The secondly, translation aims to expand the horizon of knowledge through multilingual fertilization. For example, we are accessing to the Wikipedia, okay? And all the Western knowledge can be collected through translation, okay? Had it been the case, if we wouldn't have been able to translate it, then we would have been deprived of all the world's greatest knowledge. Through translation, it is impossible to access to the Western world, and through by which we can understand them in a better way. Okay, this is the that's why it plays a very important role to understand what it means to the when you talk about translation. Okay, so translation brings one culture in contact with another culture, and this also helps in the growth of culture. Okay, and the cultural transmission is also a modern phenomenon by which people enrich their understanding of the world as a translation studies at large aims at. So what is translation studies? The foremost aim is to understand the culture and make them transmit their culture into another culture and to grow the cultural phenomenon whereby we can come to a global world, a global peaceful world as such. Okay, and that's why it is a modern phenomenon. Okay, as I told you that the language is always in the process of evolution. We have different new words that is being included in the language, that is being incorporated in the language. And also when you talk about culture, there are also new emerging cultures. Okay, because when we talk about culture, It always changes. It is always in the process of evolution. For example, we have sati practice at that point of time, but now we are going ahead with the liberal world. So cultural changes are there, and with the cultural changes we come different words. Now the WhatsApp culture is there, so we generally say, hey, what's up, what's going on. So different the factors are being added up. Okay, so why this is something that the when you talk about culture and language, that are intertwined with each other. And when you talk about different words, that are the product of the culture. So when the culture changes, words changes, culture changes. When you understand this culture, then you can understand it, and then you can translate it. It is as simple as that. Without understanding culture, if you go and just try to translate it, it is not going to possible for you to understand it in a better way. Okay, so even if you know butter, it is the product of milk. Only if you know the butter, if you have witnessed it, what is it? Okay, so transmission of a languages and culture further leads to the phenomenon of globalization, and through which the globalization is possible. Through translation, globalization is possible, which translation also aims to create. The globalization in terms of communication, knowledge production, commercial trade and industry and entertainment has been possible through the act of translation. So in movie industry, if you see, there are lots of adaptations of Hollywood movies are there, by which we can understand the Western culture and we can imitate them. In the industry trade also, we can understand through translations that what are the trends that are going on in the Western world, and how are they going to improve themselves, and by which we can imitate their strategy also. So in the globalization also, translation plays a vital role. If you happen to forget this as a separate discipline, then you are just shutting the door of all that is going towards the developed nation as such. Okay, so if you want to be a developed country, translation is the branch where one needs to focus at. Okay, the transmission of languages and the culture further leads to the phenomenon of globalization, and the globalization in terms of communication, knowledge production, everything. In today's world, the people of different cultural, linguistic, religious, racial, and national identities have been able to come in one platform and transcend beyond the nations and borders. So now national boundaries and the borders are no more restrictions for you. Okay, you can go with this competent English, for example. If you know English, you can go to the abroad and there you can survive because you are acquainted with their language. Okay, and if you know it, for example, if any person who does not know the language and the culture, so you can perform a translator person, by which there can be the transmission of that culture, and there can be a friendship bond. Okay, so this is the main concept here. One of the aim of translation is to bring different forms of representation as well. Okay, because through translation you can get platform, and those who are the suppressed group, okay, those who remain the periphery, those who do not get the accessibility, for instance, these people can get the accessibility through translation. For example, Dalit literature is there. Okay, so any pieces from Dalit literature should be written down in the mainstream, should be taken out and should be should be written in the English. And once it is written in English, it can get accessibility throughout the world, so all world can understand what is Dalit literature, what are the sufferings that they had, for instance. So it is the form of representation. Or also, if you want to depict the representation of the minor section, for example, and if you give them a platform, if you really want to give them a platform, then you can translate it and you can just produce it in terms of that the large a number of people can be easily they can understand their suffering as well. So it is a form of representation. Through translation you can represent them, because the basic what is the requirement is that all suffering should be written in vernacular language, because these people are not competent to know English, for example. So the people, those who learn that skills, can understand their suffering and then can translate it. Okay, and then it can get a wider accessibility. Okay, so the people produce their cultural and linguistic works in their vernacular modes of expression and then translate them into another mode of expression in order to register their voices or the stories of life in a wider public domain. So by which they can register their voice and also their stories, their sufferings, and they can get a wider public domain as such. So one of the aim of translation is to bring different form of representation, and through the voices or the narratives, they form their own representation. So the marginalized section of the people of a particular country translate their works from vernacular to the mainstream languages for broad appeal to the marginalized narrative. For example, we have Rogoberta Menchuo from Guatemala translates her literary work from Spanish to English for opening up her life struggle to the global audience. Okay, had it not been translated into English, then wouldn't have been possible for author to get the global accessibility. Okay, global audience, for example, because Spanish is known to very few people. Marathi is known to only Maharashtra. If you want to produce it, you have to translate it into English. Then it gets wider approach. If Marathi movie is there, it needs to be adapted in Hindi. Then it gets wider approach. If you again want to add up something to it, then you need to translate into any language that is spoken to that is spoken to so it is required for you to understand the language, and also it is important for you to understand the globalization. Okay, and that's why English plays a vital role, and that's why the maximum of you should focus on the aims of translation. Similarly, we have CK Janu from India also translate her autobiography Mother Forest to narrate the plight of the Adivasi community in Kerala. Okay, so thus translation at large aims at creating different forms of representation. So suppressed group can write, and their writing can be accessed in the mainstream world. Okay, so it is the editor or translator who creates another vast world for the text to be read through the translation. So editor or translator who creates the another vast world of the text, and the translation has been a means of livelihood to many people who are involved in profession. So it is a profession as well. There are so many people, those who are earning through translation. We need translator. When the Prime Minister of India going abroad, he takes one translator to understand the another country, and then their translator is there. Okay, and by through which translation they are sharing their ideas, thoughts, opinion, cultural connotation, everything. Okay, so this is what the translation has a wider appeal. The translator is an important position in defining the translated piece of a work. Okay, so through the translator we can get to know the what is the importance of original work, because when translator understands it, when translator likes the piece of original, then he gets the desire to translate it. Okay, and if so many translator has translated the original piece, we can also understand that the original work has something a masterpiece. Okay, so through which we can get the translated piece, and the translated piece, through translated piece we can get to know what is the original work of a art. Because the translation process does not merely carry the meaning of the author, but it also carries the agenda of the translator, in the sense that the translator translates the text through his understanding and interpretation of the terms and the condition, and the translator functions as a collaborative authorship. So I told you that it is not merely a translation, but it is a transcreation. Okay, it is a transcreation, and it is a creative art, because the author is also understanding the text, and also his interpretation, his political ideology, his emotions are coming in, and that's why it is a collaborative authorship. He is the second author of that original piece. For example, Shakespeare has written the Othello, and if you are translating it in Marathi, so you will become the second author of that original piece, because you are not reproducing it, you are just regenerating in it in a different language. So you will basically add your interpretation, your understanding. So there might be the cases that the author has different kind of a intention while writing it, and you have interpreted differently. Okay, so sometimes you see that the translation is not sometimes a faithful translation. Okay, what is faithful translation? Faithful translation is the translation who basically the faithful translation is a translation, it's kind of a work which gives lot of importance to the original piece of a literature or the original piece of a art. Okay, so the faithful translator would give lot of importance to original. Okay, and there is unfaithful translation where they just transcreate it rather than giving too much importance to the original. They will try to reproduce it. And the best translator is one who is going to reproduce that work rather than just going for the original work. And you need to always remember while translating that it is a collaborative authorship. So you are also the second author of that particular text, and you should be competent person to understand both the culture, otherwise you cannot become a translator. Okay, so yes, so this is something that today in today's session we have seen what it means to be a translator, what are the different opportunities that are there for the translator, and where in the globalization why the work of translator plays an vital role. Okay, so in today's session we have seen the types of translation, definition of translation, we have also seen the history of translation. So in the ancient time, for example, the translation was only the interlingual translation. Then we added different translation, intralingual translation, intersemiotic translation. We have also seen that it has been emerged as a separate discipline now. I hope you have understood this topic. Now, if you have any queries, you can. So it's done now. This is what the translation study is basically focuses on. If you have any queries from your side, you can ask me. Okay. Here is- Yeah, if any query is there, they can.
Students, if you have any queries, please ask. Okay then. Translation is the communication of the meaning of a source language text by means of an equivalent target language text. Sense is required for translation. For this, we should have a very good knowledge of the language. Sir has covered all the important types, aims, and aspects of the translation. I hope our student shall definitely take the advantage of it. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now I would like to call Ma'am Harsha Borghare for vote of thanks.
Hello. A very warm good evening to all. It's a great honor to me to propose vote of thanks for today's 6-day session. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us such a important information about translation studies. This is true that translation study helps to shape a reader's understanding of the world, their history, philosophy, politics, and more. Remember, my dear students, in this modern age, this translation study becomes the part of academic skills. On behalf of Department of English, I, Harsha Shinde, spread my most sincere thanks to the guest of today's session, Mr. Manish Kumar Chauhan, sir, who gave his valuable time from his busy schedule to grace this meeting. I want to extend my generous thanks to the principal of SBCT College, Dr. Sujit Maitre, sir, for his valedictory speech. Sir always supports us. I also extend my thanks to the vice principal of college, Dr. Tundulwar, sir. I would like to thank HOD of English department, Dr. Anil Shinde, sir, IQSC coordinator, Dr. Pranjali Kane, ma'am, and Raktate, sir. I thank to organizing team for having such a wonderful session. And last but not least, I would like to thank to all participants here. Here, our certificate course is over. Hope student you have been enjoyed this lecture series. Thank you. Please visit Google Classroom for feedback, link, quiz, and assignments.